Grand day to all of the parents out there who are excited about a new school year. Well, we're here. It's your girl, Miss Steezy, and I am here to share with parents the top 3 pieces of information or questions that you should be asking your child's teacher now that we're here at the beginning of the school year. Okay, so just to give you a little background about myself, you can call me Miss Steezy. And I have been teaching in public school education here in Georgia for 15 years now. And one thing that I hear a lot from the parents that I've worked with over all of these years is I'm really not sure about what questions I need to be asking my child's teacher. Like, I'm overwhelmed. I don't really know what exactly to ask. I'm frustrated. Can you please help? So guess what? I'm here to help you. One thing that parents definitely need to get first thing, like if you can start the school year off with knowing this information, it can be very, very helpful in creating a foundation that's going to be solid towards your child's success. And I shouldn't say solid towards, but it will create a solid foundation for your child to be successful as the year rolls out. Okay. So let's talk about the most important thing, because I know you're tired of waiting on it. Okay, so the most important thing, I'm going to go to this screen right here, is data. Data. Everything in public schools, at least, especially here in Georgia, is driven by data. So when I say ask your child's teacher for data, give them about the first month of school, maybe the first 2 weeks of school. It just depends on what's going on inside that school environment. But what you want to do is you want to get some kind of current data from on your child. So data is, let's look at the definition of what data is. Data happens to be facts and statistics collected together for reference or analysis. So what you're looking at is or looking for is some type of assessment information. This is very important. It's very important for teachers, but it's also extremely important for parents. And a lot of parents don't really understand the importance of knowing their child's data because it comes in this crazy format that is not really easy to translate. So you can always ask your child's teacher, look, I've been working all day, y'all, so just bear with me. Anyway, you can ask your child's teacher to interpret this data for you. So what you want to do is you want to get some type of assessment data. Now that could be the child's teacher or teachers have given their own personal classroom assessments already, or there might be a district-wide assessment that students may have taken. There may be a statewide assessment that students may have taken. There may be a collection of all of that. I would suggest that parents wait on the statewide. And I'm going to tell you at the end of this video why I'm saying that. But I would suggest that parents ask for data pertaining to a statewide type of testing situation. Okay, so in my school district, there is a specific type of test that students across the district take across multiple grade levels. It's called the MAP assessment. Other school districts might have a different type of assessment, but ultimately all of these assessments do the same thing. This MAP assessment is a test that's given in each specific subject 3 times a year, and this data is used to basically compare each individual student performance in each subject to other students in the school, other students in the district, other students in their state, other students in the nation. Okay, so I'm going to go into this screen really quickly and I'm going to show you an example of some data that I pulled from a MAP assessment for one of my students. Now, I'm not going to show you any names or anything like that because, of course, me being a teacher, confidentiality is of the utmost importance. But what I want to do for parents is I want to give you an understanding of how to interpret this data. So here, I'm going to pull up some data from a student. So what you guys are looking at right now, this happens to be data from a student who is in the 4th grade right now, who has taken the MAP assessment. Here you can see that this student has taken the MAP assessment several times, and you can see whether this student has shown any growth, from kindergarten on up. You see the grade level, okay? I'm going to focus on mathematics because I teach mathematics currently, but as a elementary school teacher, I am certified to teach all subjects, and I have taught all subjects, so I can go back and forth. If that's something you would like, please leave that down in the comment section, and I will definitely make that happen for you. Okay, so now back to what I was saying here, because I get off track. Okay, so I'm looking at this data of this student, and here you can see in math, this fourth grade student took a MAP assessment in the fall, and this bold number right here, this bold number right here tells me basically what level they're on as a learner in math. Now for parents, this is really frustrating because it's just a number, right? Then you have this information over here, whether growth was made, whether they went backwards, and where their projected growth is according to this assessment. None of this really means a lot to a lot of parents. That's why I always send home this information to parents. Okay, so now look, we got a fourth grader. Let's go back to this data. This particular fourth grader scored a 147 on the MAP assessment that we just took in the fall. Okay, so now let's look at what that means for math. Here's fourth grade. In the beginning of the year, the MAP assessment and the state of Georgia and the district that I work in, they say to teachers, hey, a typical fourth grader should score this or somewhere near this, right? At the beginning of the year. By the middle of the year, a typical fourth grader should be here at 208.7, and by the end of the year, a typical fourth grader should be at 213.5. Well, we know based on this data that this particular student is not there. So the question is, well, if this student is sitting in fourth grade, and this is the score that this student has scored recently on the most current set of data for math that we have, then what grade level is the student really functioning and comprehending math on, right? Okay, so let's look at that. We saw 147. We're going to go here to this mathematics chart, and we're going to find where a 140 something might be, right? Looky here. Okay, so if I go up to kindergarten, I see at the beginning of the year, according to the MAP assessment, a typical kindergartner should score about a 140. By the middle of the year, they should be at about a 151. So that means this particular student in fourth grade is somewhere at between a mid-year and beginning of the year level kindergartner as far as their understanding in math. So now you are starting to see why that is my number one suggestion to all parents. Please find out the most current data on whatever subject that you're concerned about for your child. I would suggest you get the data for all the subjects. And after you get that data, also, well, not after, but as you're requesting that data, also request for an interpretation, some type of chart, wrong page, some type of a chart like this that can help you understand what that number means for your child right now at this point in the school year. All right, so we got the hard part out of the way, right? Okay, so once you get that data, parents, stay with me now. Once you get that data, the next most important thing to do is find out, okay, now that I see where my child is functioning according to the current assessment, right? What specific skills is my child weak in so that I can do, or my child can do, or we can do, because it's really a teamwork. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It's really a team effort. It's going to take the way that our curriculum is set up, and I'm going to talk about what a curriculum is in just a few minutes, but the way that the curriculum is set up in most states in the United States, it is set up in such a way that students that are successful have to put in work at home. I'm sorry, guys. That's just the honest truth about it. If you don't want to take it from me, do some research, but Miss Steezy gonna keep it real with you every time, right? Okay, so now that you get the data, you request the data, you got the interpretation, your next question as a parent. So we're on number 2 now. Y'all are doing good if y'all still with me. Okay, then. You really care. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. Okay, now look. Once you get the data and you get the interpretation of the data, your next question to your child's teacher, first thing, doesn't matter how old, doesn't matter how young, the next thing should be, okay, now what specific skills is my child weak in this subject, so that my child can work on these specific skills at home in an attempt to close those learning gaps, if your child has learning gaps. So that's what requesting the data is about, is learning and figuring out, does your child have any learning gaps? If so, drilling down on the specific skills to help close those learning gaps, right? So I'm going to go into something else, and I hope it hasn't logged me out, y'all. I'm going to go into another page. I showed you guys a breakdown of some data. I showed you an interpretation chart. Now I'm going to show you what some teachers can use. I am looking, what you are looking at right now is an exaggerated learning curriculum is what you're looking at. Well, not a learning curriculum, a learning continuum. I told you I've been working. Stay with me, bear with me, don't judge me. Let me take a sip of this sparkling water, by the way. Okay, so every teacher should have access to some type of a learning continuum. This is a literal breakdown of different domains within a specific content area. So before I get into this, let's talk about it, because I'm big on vocabulary, even though I'm a math teacher. Domain. What in the world am I talking about? Specific domains within each subject area. Okay, so when I'm talking about domain, what I'm referring to is a specified sphere of activity or knowledge. Okay, so each subject area is broken down into different domains. So when your child is in school, they're not just learning math, they're not just learning reading, they're not just learning science, they're not just learning social studies. They are learning specific domains within that very broad umbrella that you refer to as a subject area. And guess what? I got some great information for you. Okay, so I'm going to get into this, right? So as I was telling you, what you want to do, okay, as a parent, you want to find out specifically what is it your child needs to work on. Well, this is where your child's teacher or teachers can go into some type of a learning continuum situation, and they can go and tell you exactly the information you're asking for. Before I go into this, I know it's killing you. You want to see, listen, as a parent, you have to understand that your child's teacher is a resource, a tool. If you don't ask for information, don't expect for it to just be given to you. I hate to say that, but you have to ask the right questions to get what you want out of a free education. Free, keyword. Okay, so look, that last student we were looking at scored in between, I think she scored a 147 in math, right? So I would click right here. I could click right here, but I'm going to go underneath the domain of operations and algebraic thinking. Let's look at analyze patterns and relationships. And for that student, it's telling me that this student actually needs to have these skills introduced to her. So you could easily go to analyze patterns and relationships and then put your child's grade level in Google. It will bring up a plethora of resources. You can ask your child's teacher for resources that specifically target this skill in this type of a way. It goes on, like representing and solving problems. It lets you know, hey, based on what we see from the scores, this child needs a full-on introduction to this, right? And as I stated, if you ask your child's teacher or you just Google, if you can just find whatever the domain and subcategory underneath that domain is, what the low one is, you can literally go into Google and type in this subcategory with the grade level, and all kind of resources will pop up. You would be surprised, right? Okay, so let's talk about curriculum. So I've already gone over the top two. The first thing, do you remember? Can you repeat it? Huh? If you can, put it in the comment section below. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you anyway. So the first thing you should do as a parent at the beginning of the school year, please, please, please request for some type of data, current data on whatever subject area you're concerned about, and also an interpretation of that data. Second, you want to know specific skills. What are the specific weaknesses according to the data that you and your child can work on at home to close the learning gaps and help your child just have a more successful school year in whatever grade level that they're in, right? What is a curriculum? All right, so a curriculum. A curriculum is the subjects comprising of a course of study in a school or college. So when we're talking about curriculum, everything that we do in public school, especially here in Georgia, is, I like to say, scripted, right? I say it's scripted because everything is all laid out. And guess what? You want to see what I mean? There is a cool website that I would urge parents in Georgia to go to. It is the www.gadoe.org. This is the Georgia Department of Education's website. It's free to the public. And I've already kind of done something. I went straight to parent resources, but I can definitely show you how to get there. So when I went to the home site, let's go back to the home site really quickly. If you go to this site, you can kind of get an overall view, not of just what grade level your child is in, information that your child is going to be learning for every subject in each grade level, but you can go in that grade level, but you can go and see it for all grade levels, past and present, right? So I went here to learning and curriculum. I went to content areas. I clicked on mathematics. Once I clicked on mathematics, I came all the way down here to the bottom, right here where it says parent and student resources, right? This right here is a great start for all parents in Georgia. Just play around on this site like it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is that you like to play on this site like that when it comes to your child, right? Okay, so on this site, I've already pulled it up. I brought up some documents, and this is our standards. Now, when you hear any teacher talking about standards, what we're talking about is the curriculum, the subjects comprising of a course of study in a school or college, okay? So we're just basically talking about what skills do we have to teach from the beginning? What skills do we have to teach from the beginning, the middle, to the end of school for this grade level, what is mandated by the state and required by teachers to teach, okay, in this specific grade level. So this is important information that I would suggest that parents have and know and be familiar with all throughout the school year, right? So I pulled up this. You can find this on the Georgia Department of Education website. And here you're going to see it does a breakdown. I like this for parents because it takes out all of the educational jargon. Here you can see K through 5 learning progressions for mathematics, right? So here in kindergarten, you can see what the goal is and how it's progressing in each of these, remember, domains. And it goes on and on. You can do this for all the subjects. And then it has even like helpful links and other resources that you can find within these documents. So cool site. Those are my top 3 things that I would say that parents, not top 3 things, but top 3 pieces of information and or questions that all parents should be asking their child's teacher now that we're here at the start of the school year. I am going to provide you guys with a list of resources. Some might be coming up and down the screen in a minute. But if not, then you can definitely see them, and they'll be linked in the comment section. So if you stayed here to the end of this video, that means you definitely want to know something. You want to know why I suggested that parents request state data. Any type of assessment that is pertaining to a statewide type of assessment. That's because, especially if you're in Georgia, the reason I suggest that for parents, I kind of want to hold on to it. No, I'm going to give it to you. The reason I would suggest that parents request for a type of state assessment data, current state assessment data, is because at the end of a school year, students are going to be assessed over a state assessment. So all year long, what you want to do, what the teachers want to do, what students want to do, what the parents want to do, is make sure that you're working on building those skills that you know are going to be on that state assessment. So classroom data, if your child's teacher gives a classroom assessment, that's good to know. You know, it's great information. but it's not as important. I hate to say that. I know some educators gonna be mad at me, but it's not as important as that state data. It's important. Don't get me wrong. It is very important, especially for teachers who are trying to gauge the progress of each one of those skills that they're teaching. And they're trying to see, okay, I taught this domain, I taught these sub skills underneath this domain. How are the students doing in that? That's great. But an overall picture, because I'm a big picture thinker, would be that state. You definitely want to ask for the most current state assessment data pertaining to your child, an interpretation of that data, um, a list of specific skills underneath domains, subcategories underneath the domain for that whatever subject or subjects, specific skills, and then resources, right? You want to find the resources. One great resource I just gave you guys today, let's go back to that resource, is the Georgia Department of Education website, if you happen to have kids who are attending public school in Georgia. Well, you guys have just had a classic education from Miss Steezy. It has been a pleasure, and this is not going to be the last time you see me. I'm getting so many requests to put out educational content that I am going to try my best. And if that includes me having to put out more content for the community, I will do my best to try to do it. I'm trying to tell you, they be draining our energy, but y'all, I love the kids, and therefore I love you all, because you all place the kids here in this world, and I'm gonna do what I can do to help you and help me too. So let's help each other together. It's your girl, Miss Steezy. You have been tuned in to Classic Education today. I'll see you next time with some more important information. If you like this video, click that like. Go ahead and subscribe. Put notifications on the page. This is Lou Morningstar Broadcasting, by the way. That's where you can find me. And throw something in the comments. Tell me what you would like to see as a parent. What is some information that you would like to see? What is some information that you would like to know? So we can help each other grow. Love you guys. I'm out.